welcome to the Daily English News program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the major developments of the day. I'm Qocaman. One of the areas to which President İlham paid special attention during the February 26 press conference for representatives of local and foreign media was the situation in Armenia. The head of state rightfully called what is happening in the country a tragicomedy and added that if the political circles of the losing side wrongfully assesses the new realities taking place in the region, the limit of cooperation for Armenia will be further narrowed.
The press conference of President İlham for local and foreign media organizations will play an exceptional role in forming an objective view of the realities of the post-war period. The diplomacy and farsightedness of the head of state in answering all questions, in particular in relation to the process taking place in Armenia today, should in fact be considered a criterion of objectivity for the world media. The President stressed that Azerbaijan is closely following the statements made in this country, the steps being taken, actions, the heat of the military rhetoric, and at any time can adequately respond. And in Yerevan, literally, chaotic, incomprehensible events are taking place. The deepening contradictions between the government and the military generals and the harsh statements of circles trying to use these contradictions against Azerbaijan indicate that there is still a threat to the region. But the enemy must understand that every step taken is under control, and if such cases as missile attacks on civilians, as it was during the 44-day war, suddenly repeat themselves, the defeat of Armenia will be inevitable. When I spoke with President Putin, I spoke about it and called on the Russian side to urge the Armenian side to refrain from this, otherwise we will not have a choice. We will bomb their cities. We had everything on target. Our missiles are reaching Yerevan, and not only from the National and Autonomous Republic, but also from other regions. We can demonstrate this at any time. Therefore, my appeal was to call on the already enraged Armenian military political leadership, which crossed all the red lines, to a reasonable analysis of the situation, otherwise we will simply destroy them completely, said President İlham Aliyev. Although these words of the President of Azerbaijan refer to the period of the war, the current policy and plans of Armenia and Karabakh dictate the need to keep this thesis in the spotlight. The problem is that, due to the scandal surrounding the Iskander missile systems received from Russia, the opposite side is almost slipping into a abyss of civil war. In international practice, there are often cases when, with such an aggressive essence, all agreements are violated and everything leads to a new confrontation. In fact, in the current situation in Yerevan, there is a struggle on the principle of who is stronger, and revanchist forces trying to take over Pashinyan offered to make a deal with foreign partners to equip the army with new modern weapons. If we want peace, long-term peace, then the responsible people should not have such destructive means in their hands, in a country in which chaos reigns, where the army does not obey the leadership, where they either carried out a military coup or did not. This is also part of tragicomedy, because the military coup is either committed or not. Photos take place in such a tragicomic form, walking with megaphones, with night tents, with some homeless people on the streets. It's just a shame. The whole world laughs at them, regardless whether it's a ruling party or opposition. Therefore, is it possible to give such a dangerous weapons to these people? Therefore, I would like to say that we need to make sure that no one has any fears, said President İlham Aliyev. Despite the fact that the processes taking place in Armenia today are presented as only one internal confrontation between the authorities and the opposition, one can clearly see plans behind to which defeat in Karabakh. Armenian generals collaborating with junta regime, who have only hoped to gather supporters for rallies and overthrow Pashinyan, are in fact carrying out an advocacy campaign under the slogan of a new Karabakh war. The return by President Armen Sarkisyan of the Prime Minister's appeal to dismiss the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Armenia, the appearance on the agenda of the issue of impeachment of Sarkisyan himself, numerous appeals to the Pashinyan power both from America and Russia in recent days confirmed that anarchy completely reigns in this country. Undoubtedly, there are those who are trying to take advantage of this chaos and achieve a military escalation in the region. We would advise them to take seriously the warnings in connection with Armenia expressed by President İlham at press conference for journalists. Otherwise, the enemy country will face a new iron fist.
Turkey also supports restoration work in the deoccupied territories of Azerbaijan. One of the main issues touched by President İlham Aliyev at the press conference was related to this topic. Turkish ambassador to Azerbaijan, Erkan Özaral, in an interview to AZTV said Turkish companies are showing great interest in participating in projects realized in the territories liberated from occupation.
We would like to see Turkish companies involved in many areas on the liberated lands, and I'm sure that we will see them in the construction, reconstruction, infrastructure and restoration of our historical monuments, because there is a lot of work to be done. Even after that, God willing, we will go shoulder to shoulder. At a press conference held on February 26 for representatives of local and foreign media, President İlham Aliyev sent a serious message to the whole world about the further strengthening of the Azerbaijani-Turkish brotherhood, noted that cooperation between the two countries in various directions had expanded even more. Turkish companies are also involved in significant projects implemented in the territories liberated from the occupation, the construction of the Füzuli-Şuşa highway, which is of strategic importance for our country and people, and the construction of a road from Göygöl region to Kelbajar. Turkish ambassador to Azerbaijan, Erkan Özaral, said the Turkish embassy received many proposals from Turkish firms expressing their desire to work in Azerbaijan Karabakh, and as it should be, the embassy directed them to the appropriate Azerbaijani organizations based on their designation and asked them to wait a little bit. Now road construction work is underway where Turkish companies are also involved. Turkish companies that previously operated in Azerbaijan and invested 11 billion manats in the economy of Baku and many regions of the country are playing an active role. On March 1st, yet another historic event took place in bilateral relations. The preferential trade agreement between the governments of Azerbaijan and Turkey came into force. This document, which has become a new stage in bilateral economic relations, will make an important contribution to expanding cooperation in this area and bringing the trade turnover to $15 billion by 2025. Azerbaijan introduced another innovation in its history, together with fraternal Turkey. Thus, according to the contract, which supplemented the agreement signed on 25th February last year on a visa-free regime for citizens of the two countries with a regular passport and a visa-free stay on the territory of the country within 19 days, the citizens of Azerbaijan and Turkey will use their ID cards to pass the border. According to the Turkish ambassador to Azerbaijan, Erkan Özaral, this will be a great contribution not only for the two countries, but also for both peoples. Turkey and Azerbaijan have completed internal procedures for the implementation of this agreement. Now both sides need to inform each other. Within a month after the completion of this stage, this agreement will enter into force. The ambassador expressed hope that its implementation will begin soon. The Turkish-Azerbaijani negotiation process has been completed. Both sides need to send the necessary notifications through diplomatic channels. Then a date will be set. The transformation of the Turkish-Azerbaijani brotherhood and interaction into a very important factor, both in a bilateral format and on a regional scale, is an indisputable fact.
A webinar organized by the Center for Analysis of International Relations was held in connection with a press conference held by President İlham Aliyev for a group of local and foreign media representatives. Economic development, security and other issues in the region were discussed. It was stated that Armenian side, as President İlham Aliyev stressed, must adhere to the November 10 ceasefire and renounce these claims to Azerbaijan lands. The speeches also focused on the position of foreign media before and after the war. The official Instagram page of the Authority National Geographic magazine of the U.S. National Geographic Society with 154 million followers shared information about the Karabakh War. It said that the Murovdagh Pass was the only way for thousands of Azerbaijani civilians trying to escape the war in 1993. Many were forced to walk and died on the road. Mubarak and his father traveled to the mountains for a week and reached a safe place. Kelbajar region was occupied by Armenian troops for 27 years and was returned to Azerbaijan in November 2020. Years later, Mubarak took his daughter to his village in Kelbajar. He couldn't fall his tears when he saw the house where he spent his childhood turn into ruin. 352 infections with the novel coronavirus were registered in Azerbaijan. 143 people recovered after treatment and were released home. 2 people have died after testing positive for COVID-19. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 235,014 with 228,982 recoveries and 3,225 deaths. The number of active infections is 2,807. To detect infection cases, overall 2,610,880 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan. The task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.